When you've lost your first 2 games of a season, to come to a club that you've beaten just twice in 37 years on their own ground is daunting. But that's the fate facing Wakefield Trinity tonight as they arrive here at St Helens. Now then, the Saints became the first team to lose to newly promoted Lee last week, so you could say they're under a bit of pressure to perform tonight. No Johnny Lomax at fullback, so Tommy Makinson moves back to cover, which allows Jack Owens to come in for his first appearance of the season. Up front, it's the first time that Alex Walmsley, James Roby and Luke Thompson have started a game this year, so that's a new front row. Morgan Knowles also gets a start for the first time in 2017 at loose forward. And on the bench, the Saints supporters will get their first glimpse of Zeb Tyre, the former New Zealand international, signed from the Gold Coast Titans in the deal that saw Joe Greenwood head off down under. For Wakefield, we have a chance to see the 2016 Young Player of the Year in action. Tom Johnson is Trinity's first ever winner of that award. And they show one change. Ben Jones-Bishop is still recovering from the injury sustained in the tackle against Huddersfield last week. So Mason Caton-Brown, signed from Salford this close season, gets his Wakefield debut. In the forwards, Matty Ashurst had 60 games for Saints at the start of his career. They'll be delighted to see skipper Danny Kermon back in action after an injury-ravaged 2016, and Michael Seo returns at loose forward. And on the bench, coach Chris Chester is predicting a massive future for James Batchelor, who at 18 makes his Super League bow. Well, the light show at St Helens and at several other grounds around the Betfred Super League in 2017 is in full flow. And below stairs, Danny Kermon waiting to lead Wakefield Trinity out. And rocked, as you probably heard in the build-up, by a late change. Anthony England is out. He was a little bit of a doubt before the match. And in the heavy conditions, because of the rain that has been falling torrentially all day, he has been withdrawn. And a former St Helens player, Anthony Walker, comes in on the bench. And that means that Tinaru Arona will start the Cook Islands International. So they leave the bright lights of the dressing room and they emerge into the comparative darkness of the stadium here at St Helens. Two sides will be hoping that tonight is the night. Wakefield have suffered back-to-back defeats, Hull against Hull at the Leeds Sports Village, but have won 7 consecutive home games since going down 4 points to 26 to Warrington here last June. Wakefield are aiming to hold their 11-match losing run in both the League and Cup. They haven't won since beating Catalan Dragons in Perpignan on the 16th of July. It was the win that confirmed Trinity's place in the Super 8s last year. Hope someone's got a shilling for the meter, Terry.
Hopefully, the lights will be coming on in a minute, but most neutrals tipping Saints for this game. But these conditions are a real leveller. Been raining all day, as you said. I like Saints forwards on the bench. Look at Carly Moore, McCarthy Scarswood, Walker, Zeb Taylor. They're big, they're powerful. Wakefield need a big start. You heard from both coaches when Angela interviewed them before the kick-off. And what they said was they've got to make sure that they get to the kick. You've got to buy those meters, because if you can kick the ball as far away from your try line and you challenge the opposition down near their own line, defensively, you're really tight, you're nice and compact, you will force errors.
And I think that sentiment is shared by St Helens. They've made a number of changes, particularly to the starting lineup. Walmsley, Roby, Thompson, they come on to the start. James Child, the referee, he's waiting for 50p for the meter as well. But the start is crucial. I think that's why Kieran Cunningham has put those 3 big dogs on from the beginning to give his team a lift.
OK, yes, James Child, the match referee. We are underway here at St Helens then. The most awful conditions, but the pitch looking in remarkable condition, I must say, after the torrential rain that has fallen just about all day here in this particular part of the world. And the first drive forward, such as it was by Craig Hubie. And the lights are gathering a little bit more of brightness as the opening seconds of this game unfolds. That's Wood at dummy half. Ooh, and a flying challenge coming in from Mark Percival on Danny Kermond.
Good effort from Percival, wasn't it, getting off the line? You can see already Saints, because of where they're defending, they're so compact, they're so tight. You know that when you're playing against teams in these conditions, you've got to be very brave to shift the ball early in the set.
It's obviously very heavy up the middle of the park. Let's see how they do down the wing here. The Wakefield Trinity side, they're in possession with Bill Tupu. He came here 2015 and he helped them survive in the Super League. Scott Griggs at dummy half, gets the ball to Jacob Miller, goes high off the boot of Miller. There's a chase after this. It's very well claimed.
And he's got 4 players in front of him in these conditions. Look, doesn't take his eye off the ball. As soon as he catches it, he's hit.
And he felt it too, because he got up there a little bit gingerly after that first challenge, did Tommy Makinson.
All the middlemen nice and tight. Some brave carries bringing the ball away. On contact, you've got to make sure you've got a good grip of that ball. The opposition will be liking to hit underneath it, try and force the ball out.
It's been played in a mud bath, as you can see. It's very heavy in the corners, and by the looks of things, it's very heavy down the middle. There are already some big divots that have been taken out of this St Helens ground. But here's one man who won't be worrying about that. Alex Walmsley making his first start of this season. They've reached the last tackle. Good defensive set, this from Trinity. Theo Farge with the kick, gets it away. This will skip off this wet turf. And quite understandably, Mason Caton Brown not particularly interested. The ball goes over on the far side, and it's a scrum feed to Trinity.
Just nice and direct from Saints, making sure that they do get to the kick. No errors, no trying to go into contact, turn around, offload the ball. Kieran Cunningham, one of the smartest hookers that played for Saints. He knows about all these conditions, what you should be doing as a forward, what you should be doing as a hooker, bringing your big fellas on, keeping it nice and tight, trying to get those quick play the balls, but it's going to be difficult in these conditions. Yeah,
Kieran Cunningham watching on from his usual spot, and he and Chris Chester, 2 of the youngest coaches in Super League. They faced each other for Saints and Wigan in the 2000 grand final at Old Trafford. There is Chris Chester. And here comes Danny Kermond again. Percival went for him once more and made the initial challenge. This now is Craig Hubie. And he gets the ball away to Arona, who was going to start off the bench. But then the injury to England in the warm-up meant that he is pressed into service. Matty Ashurst now had 60 games for Saints at the start of his career. Plays the ball to Wood. Miller off the outside of the boot. It goes high. It's another tester here for Makinson. Again, does well, and it goes immediately to ground.
Yeah, clever play from the fullback. As soon as he catches that ball, he just drops to the floor, so he can't be pushed back over the line. Second kick from Wakefield, high in the air, attacking kick, trying to get the players in front, hoping for that mistake.
Here's Adam Swift, trying to give a little bit of help to the big forwards in these heavy conditions. Roby, he started the season, Roby, off the bench, but Kieran Cunningham has tonight thrown him back into the action from the start. Left Tommy Lee out. That's good hands, though. Tremendous hands. And here comes Makinson. He has support inside him from Farge. Oh, Farge drops the ball under pressure from Tom Johnson. It's a 0 play, this 0 tackle, and a free play.
What an offload, though, Eddie. In contact. Close support. Morgan Knowles, as soon as he goes in, he gets his right arm free, just tips the ball back inside.
I think the important and impressive element before they lost the ball at the end was the support play. You know what, in the middle of the field they had guys hunting around, and when they kept the ball alive they didn't make good ground, but they've sadly lost it. And the end of tonight's match, when Brian Carney talks to John Wells at the end of this game and looks for a game breaker, it'll be, I think, the chances that converted into tries. Here's an opportunity with a penalty for Wakefield to get closer to the line and score, but converting your chances, which may be fewer than we see in a game in better weather. Strong start for Wakefield, though. They've controlled the ball well.
They have.
Well, they're just taking the time here now. Did he keep the pressure on? Jacob Miller saying, yeah, let's keep rolling forward.
I suppose it's not a night for goal kickers, is it? Because the standing foot will slip, and slip badly. Tupu starts again, just outside the 20. This is Hubie taking it in, as he has done all the way through his career. Arrived from Huddersfield. And Kyle Wood, also from Huddersfield. Now that's Arona, and Arona just keeps those legs pumping and gets Wakefield to within 5 or 6 meters of the line. Wood again. And here is Williams. Williams looks for support. It's Miller. Good run then on the angle from Matty Ashurst.
Good line as well, wasn't it, from Ashurst coming back against the grain.
And another penalty for holding down. Referee James Child is hot on this tonight. That's 2 penalties already.
Another 2-0 that now.
Got 2 points here, yep.
Well, you would think so. And I think Jacob Miller has indicated that they're going to go for the posts. And James Child asks his touch judges to go behind them to check whether this kick will be successful. Should be, even on a night like this.
It was a good line from Matty Ashurst, wasn't it? Saints were expecting the ball to come out to the left. But what about this offload here? No, it's poor conditions, but that's confidence, isn't it, from the youngster? Morgan Knowles gives the ball to Makinson, then in turn to Theo Fage, who was in support. So Saints have still got that in the DNA, that they will play whatever the conditions, but sometimes you just need to pull it back.
And coaches won't say it's safety first in conditions like this. What they will say is, I'll back you. You get those decisions right and they end up, it's a positive outcome, then happy days. But unfortunately, just last gasp, Theo Fage loses control, but good signs.
Good signs for St Helens, but even better signs for Trinity, because Sam Williams has scored the first points of the match via the boot. And remember, in their first match of the season at Hull, it was penalties that won the game for the Black and Whites in the end. So kicking tonight could well be important.
Eddie, and even last week when they played against Huddersfield for 65 minutes, they were winning that game. They had a high completion rate, they were getting to the kicks, they missed far too many tackles. That was the only problem, I think, that really hurt them at the end of the game.
Well, Scott Griggs allowed that ball to bounce. He controlled it with the foot initially, allowed Mason Caton-Brown to run it forward at the chasing St Helens attackers, led by the skipper John Wilkin. And once again, it's his opposite number, Danny Kermond, taking the ball forward, and Kermond not impressed by Wilkin's attention. This now is Rhys Lynn.
They're giving Theo Fage some attention. They spotted him up. They know that Theo Fage, very impressive player, can control a game, really coming on and developing strong. They need to give him, from Wakefield's perspective, they need to give him a lot of defensive work tonight.
Deep kick, deep kick, and Adam Swift was in no mood to try and even diffuse that on the full. Allowed it to bounce, allowed the chasers to come forward, and here they are. Wakefield's last away win against St Helens, and they've been rare as hen's teeth. 22-20 at Nosey Road, July 2009. So all the signs are that it is a St Helens victory tonight, but hang on, this is the Super League. This is a dreadful night of conditions for handling.
And that's why it's important to get to your kick in these conditions. If you can turn around the opposition, you can make sure that you're nice and tight, you're hitting together. You can see that Percival, when he just tries to carry this ball, he's hit underneath the ball from CO and loses possession.
And I think the recent history that you mentioned with St Helens over Wakefield probably just adds more pressure and nervousness to the home side. I think in the last 5 games they've played here against Wakefield, they've scored over 200 points. Generally speaking, it's 44-4 when we get to the final whistle with these two teams. But tonight, the start of the game in the first 8 minutes has been vastly different. Wakefield, with the experience of the two half-backs, seem a more composed side. They've kicked early, and there's a great enthusiasm. I mean, to win here would be like almost like a cup victory for them. As you've said, it happens so rarely. There's an excitement and I think an atmosphere, an enthusiasm about their play that's making them look pretty good.
Okay, heads in. Come on.
Well, the scrum is ready. They just want a football, and then we can get this game going again.
Okay, bowling.
Steam rising off that scrum. It's going to be one of those nights. This is Rhys Lynn, playing his 90th appearance for Wakefield. Is Rhys Lynn this evening? Kyle Wood. And that was Williams who fed Craig Hubie. Wood again, down the right-hand side once more. Williams drops the ball back. It's the skipper once again, Kermond. Thompson was on him, so too was Roby. Eventually down he goes. And Wood again, 10 metres out, finds Sam Williams. Arona is the runner. Now it's Miller. He goes past one, goes past two. But there were a couple of reinforcements there in the shape of John Wilkin initially with that challenge. A nice little dab to the in-goal area. This could be very interesting, and Tommy Makinson taking no chances whatsoever.
Lovely stuff. Lovely, lovely stuff. Nice delicate kick into the in-goal. A good chase. St Helens have no option to get that ball off the pitch.
The kicking game's been very impressive, hasn't it, in the opening 9 minutes. The attacking kicks, the high kicks in the air, then the close range kicks from Jacob Miller. They've got enough players, the likes of Griggs and Miller, Williams and Kyle Wood, who can cause problems just by jumping out of dummy half or maybe sticking it up high in the air.
Goal line dropout didn't go terribly far, but it spun and it bounced all across this greasy surface. And Danny Kermond pouched it very cleverly, actually. Here is Williams again, and Michael Seo now. Walmsley hunting him, Knowles in there too, Roby underneath Morgan Knowles. And Hubie, this is a very good start by the Wakefield Trinity side. Ashurst gets it to Griggs. Griggs then gives it once again to CO, who drags his team to the 10-metre mark. And Wood is waiting behind him again. Will come into centre field and gives the ball then with a neat pass to Arona, but he loses the ball, and Saints breathe a sigh of relief. Frustration for Chris Chester.
It was a tough ball to take, and they give a penalty away. The frustration setting into the players as well. Made the mistake close to Saints line, and then what Wakefield are doing very well on the right-hand side when they're attacking, they're getting at the smaller man, they're getting at the likes of Theo Fies. In the middle, they're getting at James Roby.
In the opening half hour of last week's game, Sil's defence in the centre of the field was awful, at times almost non-existent, but the first major test from that goal line dropout, they were strong enough in the centre to prevent Wakefield crashing through and scoring what would have been an important try. But just look at how quickly and easily they're stopping players like Alex Worms. It's real intensity and effort from the Wakefield side so far.
Well, there's great swathes of the pitch that have been cut up in the St Helens half of the field, but inside the Wakefield 20, the grass is absolutely perfect at the moment. That tells its own story. That tells you where the opening 11 minutes of this match have been played in this driving rain that hasn't stopped, well, all day, to be fair.
They're in a game, aren't they, Saints here?
Yes, they know it too. Oh, Farge with a little fumble, but he got away with it. He got the ball away to Wilkin. And Scott Grich, he controls the ball initially with his feet.
Just have to strip the game back, and the end result from running hard is landing on the front. You don't have to tip the ball on. So this day and age in the game, we see the forwards going at the line, the tip on players, or whether they're playing out the back. But sooner or later, in these sort of conditions, it's just the one-up carries with support. If you run into contact and you just want to run through the other side of the line, that's when you'll be rewarded. Every
week in the Betfred Super League, the key words are ball retention, and certainly on a night like this, the team that hangs on to the ball the easiest and the cleverest will probably come out on top.
Completion rates, get to your kick. Look, just from that kick then, you're buying another 30, 40 metres. If you make the mistake, you're under pressure straight away.
Makinson goes down. He surrendered to the challenge, so the Wakefield defenders have a little bit of extra time to clear the ruck. Here is Jack Owens.
10 metres.
Missed the first 2 rounds. Wing in the last 11 of last year, though. That's a solid enough run from Luke Thompson. Now Roby gets the Saints over halfway.
James Roby running on the back of Luke Thompson's quick play of the ball.
Here's Richardson. This impressive young scrum half in for Matty Smith. He finds Wilkin, and Wilkin drills it all along the ground. That will find touch just shy of the corner flag over on that far side.
Well, John Wilkin, he takes control at the back end of this set. Let's not forget that Matty Smith, one of the best kickers in Super League, not available for Saints, so a lot of pressure on the likes of John Wilkin, Danny Richardson, Theo Fies, but he is a man that can step up to the plate. So a very good kicking game, good game awareness as well, John Wilkin.
And he and his team are hoping for a 10th consecutive victory against Wakefield. They've won the last 8 here at home.
Well, they look like 2 boxers to me who are taking a very patient approach here to a fight that they know is going to last for 80 minutes, but they don't need to win in the first few rounds here. It's about control. You saw John Wilkin when he put that kick to the side. I think just content at the moment at this stage, just to try and make sure there are no errors and get as close, I should say, to Wakefield's line as possible. Now, I suppose it's a test, isn't it, in this slow arm wrestling, these conditions, about controlling it, making sure that your defence in this opening quarter is strong in the centre.
Yes, I don't think it's a night for fancy football. I don't think it's a night for slick handling, the like of which we saw last night down at the Jungle. It's grind and get to the kick, and then hunt the mistake when people like Makinson bring the ball forward if they possibly can.
You mustn't fall into the trap in conditions like this, that thinking that one-up carries are all you need and completions are all you need. You still need to move the ball, pass the ball. Ultimately, if you pass the ball close to the line, you put the receiver under pressure, and then it's a lottery. So those decisions are, and those smart decisions, are crucial in bad conditions.
Oh, there's a mistake, though. Knock on.
He's lost it on impact, I think, hasn't it? It was more than the catch. Jacob Miller, his arm around the ball with Matty Ashurst and Michael CO.
Any contact around the ball, and it's going to be difficult for the man to control it. But again, the importance to get into the kick, were the mistakes made all of a sudden you're on the back foot, you're defending your try line, and you're under pressure.
Australian Ryan Morgan with the mistake. Formerly with the Melbourne Storm, signed on a 3-year deal. After just 12 months at the Melbourne Storm in the NRL. It rains down there, though, doesn't it? He's no stranger to these conditions.
No.
He's been teaming in Sydney for the start of the NRL this weekend, I understand.
Not sure whether it's as heavy as this, though.
Well, it'll be tropical storms, won't it, down there? This is the end of, well, we hope it's the end of winter. Oh, what a hit that was by Walmsley. Felt that, Michael CO.
That's what always happens. Come off the back of a slow play, the ball. Walmsley does have decent line speed. Okay, another good shot. Mark Percival and Swift, was it?
Adam Swift was the first in. Oh. And he's lost the ball as Griggs.
Well, Alex Walmsley with the first big shot in the middle, then it goes out wide. And there's two outside backs that come up with the next shot. Ooh. Oh, Swift straight away on Griggs. Loses the ball as soon as he goes to contact with the ground.
Well, there's the Saints big man, Alex Walmsley. Wakefield have got their own strike weapon sitting on the bench, and I think we're going to see him probably in the next 5 or 10 minutes. Big David Fafita, number 20, when he comes on. He started last week, and he's one of the biggest, strongest, most dangerous carriers, particularly close to the try line. He's one of those front rowers like Barry McDermott, who near on line always had that power to push through defenders and get over and get a try in a tight game in conditions like this.
Praise indeed for Barry McDermott. I hope you're not blushing.
I think he was taking the mick out of him, really.
I think he was being sarcastic.
No, I wasn't. Barry had a lot of power, and that's what David Fafita has. Worms is the same.
Yeah.
They need to use those power tools as best they can in these conditions.
Roby to his feet just inside his own half. Theo Farge and Wilkin. Gets the kick away, and it's a good kick too, and this will wait for Scott Griggs. Oh, and it was a good chase by Percival, but he escaped. He got rid of him and then gave it to Caton Brown.
Doesn't he do well to get out of there, Caton Brown? But the awareness from Scott Griggs, well, from coming up with that play, they bought 25 metres. That's excellent play from Griggs.
Tom Johnson played that ball, Young Player of the Year. They're making good ground forward, Wakefield, whenever they have the ball in their hands.
It's nothing spectacular. They all know the jobs.
I say, I don't think we're going to see a spectacular night of free-flowing, attacking rugby league tonight. It'll be very interesting to see who comes out on top at the end of it all. Again, they've got to the kick, Wakefield. It's another decent enough kick, but will it skip away dead? No, it doesn't. And Makinson with work to do.
On the fourth play here, they go holding him up.
Great defence from Wakefield, that. A great chase.
Good kick followed up by 4 men. Putting an awful lot of pressure on Makinson, then on Jack Owens here. Look, the ball's not going out. He's got to return it back into field.
And the interesting thing about that, even if, like last year, Makinson would have put his foot on the other side of the dead ball line, it would not have been deemed to be dead.
No, he had to play the ball.
Yeah.
Had to bring it away.
Yeah.
And that's the impact of the change of the law.
Well, it would have been deemed to be dead, but it would have been a goal line dropout rather than a tap 20. Knock on here. Knock on here.
Good play from Wakefield. A good kick, a good energetic chase. And when Saints threw Big Al, they lifted their enthusiasm. Wakefield said, well, OK, then we'll go with you.
Where's the knock on? Does it not come off Roby's heel and go backwards?
I think it hits his hands and probably goes backwards, doesn't it, in that situation?
I know we've only got 18
There's the
minutes.
knock on.
That's a knock on. Yeah,
it's a knock, not a controlled.
Could drop or place the ball and roll it backwards. Isn't that the rule?
Well, he never dropped it, Phil. It just fell out of his hand.
I know we've only got 18 minutes gone in this game, but
don't start to play the balls again this year.
No.
I don't think we get that one changed. We've tried for 5 years.
Place the ball. I thought the rules were you could.
That's what the law states, but I don't think they use that interpretation now. You've got to place the ball.
It also says, doesn't it, you've got to hit the ball with your foot, and they don't even follow that. So I don't think we can change that one, Phil. I think we've lost that argument. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's time.
Saints seem to be losing this argument at the moment. It's still on 2 behind, and we're about the 20-minute mark.
I think Saints need to bring on some new forwards here. 19 minutes to get in a bit ruffled in the middle of the park.
Well, Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook has just taken off the coat, and he's ready to come on. He'll add a bit of oomph and grunt up front, he hopes. There he is, LMS, 13 on his back, as normal. Jacob Miller skipping away from would-be challengers. Oh, gets the ball away. They keep it alive, fortunately. This is Kermond. Farge sort of fell over in front of him and helped to bring him down. Scott Griggs now dabs it to the in-goal area, and Adam Swift is just pushed over the line by Reece Lynn, who immediately apologises.
Saints are putting pressure on themselves. They've got a number of players that are jumping the line, trying to solve the play for themselves. You can see that when Percival gets up, trying to cut the play down, trying to take Reece Lynn, but then all of a sudden he slips over. They had it on the right-hand side of the sticks as well. Saints players shot the line, trying to close it down, and all of a sudden Wakefield changed direction of their attack.
Tommy Makinson's dropout and doesn't get very far in these conditions. You know, I think that Wakefield fancied their chances coming over here tonight. We know that Saints are a little bit jittery, a little bit nervy after losing to newly promoted Lee last week. Not a bad time to play them, perhaps. This is Michael Seo.
Well, there's two ways, isn't it? There's going to be a reaction from Saints, or it's a good time to play them. And in these conditions, I do think, as I said at the start, it's a real leveler.
Oh, great
done brilliantly. Mason Caton-Brown, I think if that is a try, that is another one of the great tries of 2017. James Child had a look at his touch judge. They're going to hand it upstairs. They have a try on the field. It was wonderful skill. The tip on out wide was fantastic. The finish was not bad either. So, try on the field, Stuart.
Well, we've seen plenty of these diving tries into the corner. He's got to keep possession of the ball. Both hands on the ball at the moment. He looks to be well away from the ground. That's down before he hits the ground. He's even missed the corner flag, which obviously doesn't matter whether he touches it or not, but he's off the ground. And the ball's down. That's a try.
It's a good finish, isn't it?
A good finish.
It's a good
great finish.
Well, the man he's replaced, Ben Jones-Bishop, scored a length of the field scorcher last week, and this has taken some scoring here by Mason Caton-Brown on his first appearance of the season and his debut for the Wakefield Trinity side, and they have established a 6-0 lead. Tremendous.
Well, that's like a six in cricket where he's knocked the ball out the ground for me this try. It's an amazing effort in these conditions to execute the way they did. They got close to opponent's try line, and then they got the man to the pacing out wide. He scored 11 tries in 8 games last year for Salford, and with one of his first touches here for Wakefield, got them the first 4 points. It's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? This flick on there by Griggs into the arms, and the finish, despite 2 defenders, it's sensational. That's in the top 5.
There you go. The Phil Clark 5 will feature that, and there's about 10 you can feature from last night as well, so you might need to be quite stringent with your decisions this week, Phil. For Phil Clark 5 on the website.
Eddie. That's in.
That one's in, okay. Though there's 4 more than he's got to find from this weekend. As I say, he's got a stack from last night. Mason Caton-Brown, though, marks his debut for Wakefield Trinity with a super try. Can Sam Williams add the extras from way out there in these conditions? Yes, he can. What a kick that is. What a kick. It just stayed in the air long enough. It crept over the bar. And that is a fantastic 6 points for Trinity.
Well, 8-0 to the visitors, and they fully deserve it. You have to question the aggression that Saints have got on goal line defence. They're getting up quick, but that finish right out of the top drawer. The small travelling fans are delighted with the side.
It's the commitment from the dummy runners from Wakefield. They were pushing through the lines. They're running as though they're going to get the ball. All of a sudden, a couple of Saints players bite in the space there on the edge. If it's just hands without those dummy runners, they prevent that try.
8-0 then. We're over the midway point of this first half. Here is Craig Hubie again to drive this ball forward for them. And tomorrow, Catalan Dragons against Widnes, 4:55 on Sky Sports 3 again. And once we see that match tomorrow, we will have seen each and every team in the Betfred Super League in 2017. That's not bad in the 3rd round of the competition.
No, not bad at all, Eddie. And looking at Wakefield on this current form and the form that they've showed over the opening 2 rounds, many people's favourites to be relegated at the end of the year. But look at this again.
Great game management from Miller.
They just know how to close the game down.
Remember his 50-metre drop goal in the Magic that beat Huddersfield, wasn't it?
Yep. He's under no pressure, isn't he? He's under no pressure at all.
It was Catalan Dragons, that's right, and then their season almost fell apart after that, didn't it?
Yeah, it has come back into fashion, kicking the ball off the island, slowing the game down. Sometimes variety, keeping the ball in play with a good enthusiastic chase. If you ally that with the kick that Jacob Miller's put in there, that's a perfect example, as you said, game management. doing it tough at the minute, Saints. A couple of players looking around, a little bit gassed.
Some big hits as well from Wakefield's forwards. Roby will try and inspire his side. Morgan Knowles going nowhere. Arona sorted that. So too did Matty Ashurst.
So dominant in the minute. It's been a slow start, a slow burner for Saints.
Well, I mention again, if you look at the other end of the field, the pitch is almost untouched by human foot. Look at that in the 20-metre zone for Wakefield. Go up the other end is like a ploughed field.
Yeah, and that's just because of the kicking game, Eddie. Where they've been challenged, where they've got to bring the ball away from. You can say the same things during the game, but the game is basic. You've got to get to your kick, you've got to kick long, you've got to play it close to your opposition's line. You want to try and...
It's not just that, Terry. When Wakefield get the ball, they're making more ground in their set of possession.
You want to get to your kick, and you want to kick it long, and you want to defend that next set. Whether you're passing the ball or not, you want to kick it long.
I'm not saying that. The difference you just said isn't that. Wakefield are making more ground in possession.
And here they come again with another solid run from Arona. They've reached the last tackle. They're 30 metres away. Miller again. This time it'll go high off the boot. Into the corner. Big test for Jack Owens. That's a knock on, I think. But Jack Owens has got it back anyway. It's a turnover.
But again, another good kick, isn't it? Straight into the corner, isolating one player.
Tom Johnson was hunting the try in the air.
I bet that will go in the memory bank of those decision makers from Wakefield. It looks like an uneven contest, that. Tom Johnson, Owens, Jack Owens, a little bit smaller than 6 foot, and Tom Johnson just 6'4", 6'5". So I wonder whether that's gotten in the armoury and they might use that later on.
Here's Wilkin. Is that high?
That's fine.
Wasn't. Williams. Farge gets the ball away. Good hands. Oh,
that's a shame.
Good hands. It was good hands, but then Adam Swift just could not keep hold of the football.
And Saints, and the adjustment of Saints, James Roby, he pushes out his standoff. Theo Farge, who makes the extra man. Unfortunately, the skill set wasn't good enough. And look at him, described as the world's toughest conquer, Theo Farge, but he's also got the skills and the recognition and great work by James Roby as well.
I've got 3 ex-international players alongside me. On a night like this, in conditions like this, how do you physically manage to hang on to the ball?
Oh, you're rubbing your hands when you're a defender, because you think nobody can step me. You don't trust your footwork and your studs, and you're rubbing your hands thinking, if I don't get a big hit in this game, then there's something going on.
It slows everyone down to your level.
But I mean,
no,
the hands are wet. The hands are wet. The balls are wet.
But you don't want the ball at the line. You want the ball early. You want to make sure that you're timing, you're hitting the ad line, you're getting over it. If you can hit the ball on the ad line, then obviously the defenders are behind that.
Ad line is the advantage
line, yeah.
Okay, we don't deal in coach speak up here, please. I'm not coaching. Anthony Walker is out there, you might have noted. Oh, here is another penalty for hands into the ruck from James Child. They might be tempted here
2 points
to take the 2. They might
go for 2 points.
Well, the way that Miller kicked the goal from the touchline not long ago, they will take the 2. The touchages are on their way back behind the posts.
Just keep picking up those points when you get down there and you present you with an opportunity. Would you rather come away with 2 points or take that gamble and go for 6? Obviously, the more points that you can generate, the more pressure it puts on the opposition.
Tell you what, a 10-point lead tonight in these conditions will not be bad for Chris Chester.
Chris Chester, Lee Gilmore just on his right. He'll be delighted with the way that his side have approached this game. We've talked about Theo Farge. He's getting a lot of attention. 11 tackles he's made up to press, and unfortunately he couldn't keep his arm out. He lost contact. The player bumped him off. He went back in, and that's where the penalty arose. 10
of last year's squad for Wakefield have departed elsewhere for one reason or another. So they were beaten by penalty goals in the round 1 against Hull. Last week they ran out of steam. They lost a 10-8 lead and eventually went down. Here tonight they're defending a 10-point lead after 28 minutes. And the travelling Wakefield fans must be absolutely delighted.
Well, it's fascinating to see how St Helens can dig themselves out of this hole almost half an hour into the game. 10 points behind and haven't had a play of the ball inside the opposition 20-metre zone. So they've not really had a chance to do what they like to do best, get near their opponent's try line and crash over it. This is a test to see whether any of the players here, what have they got in them, you know, when you're playing well in a game. This happens throughout a course of a season with 30 matches. Who in the side here now can change the flow of the game and alter how it's moving?
And it might get a little bit more difficult for St Helens. The young halfback, Danny Richardson, just had his right ankle taped up. He's limping, he's doing his best to run off whatever injury he's picked up. You see him at the bottom of your screen, trying to get back on side.
It's Wood again who gets the ball away. There's all sorts of bits and pieces going in the tackle. Hull against St Helens next week. It's a tough trip to East Yorkshire for the Saints next Friday. Sky Sports 2 at 7:30. And Williams thumps the ball down the middle of the field. It just sticks in the mud. Makinson has to run it back, and the blue wall has arrived.
And you only have to look at the amount of work both sides are doing in defence. That's just the 85th tackle that Wakefield have made in this game. You look at Saints, 58. So the pressure's on them.
It's solid defence from Wakefield, isn't it? They're really defending manfully here.
They're not being challenged, are they?
They don't make any mistakes with possession. We've talked about the weather, and yet you almost think that we've made that up because the handling's been better than it would in the height of summer. They've been sensational, haven't they, to control the ball, to move it. There's a risky pass out wide there to Swift, trying to go around them because they're struggling to go through them in the middle.
He had to go to ground quickly then because Rhys Lynn was looking to shove him over the whitewash far side. And Theo Fars just gets a kick away, and Griggs, understandably in these conditions, not interested, 20 metres from his own line. He wasn't interested in this because you make a fumble there, instead of it being head and feet to you, it's head and feet to them. But look at that, that's not a bad pass. And he did well, to be fair, did Swift. He had to stop and turn and get it.
There's a bit of frustration now because they're trying to find that space, trying to...
Well, as Phil says, they're not getting anything through the middle, so they're trying to do it down the flanks, but it's not a night for flanky football.
It's very difficult, Eddie, to try and play around the team when you're coming off slow play the ball. You've got to try and punch some holes in, you've got to try and win some plays. The early 1, 2, 3 plays, you've got to try and win it, play on the front foot, then you can throw them sorts of passes.
Have I just found a new word for the coaching dictionary? Flanky football.
Yeah.
Heads in.
Well, we can use that. 6-0 Wigan against Lee. Saints conquerors last week.
Let's go.
And don't forget all the highlights from that game available on the website skysports.com/rugby league at full time. Peru coming in to add weight to the tackle on Johnson. Wood is down the short side.
Clever play that from Wood. He realised that Peru wasn't back, so he sent that man at him straight away. Get the late retreaters.
Nearly a fiddle with the ball. Here they come again, Wakefield. Good hit by Peru, halted the progress of Arona. And again, just safety first, into the corner. Miller's controlling this.
It's basics, Eddie. You play the conditions. And that's what Wakefield have done. The completion rate has been up near 83%. I said last week against Huddersfield it was very good. It was only in the last 15 minutes that they lost that game, but they were winning up to 65 minutes.
They are playing with a smile on their face, but they won't be terribly happy with this, with Danny Kermond.
I think that was the signal.
I don't think he's going to carry on, is he?
That was the signal for a change. Arms crossed.
Well, that's a shame because he made just one substitute appearance in the last 14 of last year. And it looks like there are further problems for luckless Danny Kermond, and he leaves the scene of a 2-try performance. No, he doesn't. It was in a home win against St Helens. He scored 2 tries in a home win against Saints in 2012. He's getting sympathetic round of applause from his supporters.
It's a big loss, isn't it? When you lose your captain, Danny Kermond.
Be anxious for Chris Chester. The
Yep.
skipper leaves the field. He probably will not be back looking at those pictures.
No, he's sending on one of Super League's most exciting prospects, though.
Yes, James Batchelor. Number 27 on his back, the teenager. He's rated one of the most promising back rowers in the game. And so promising that Wakefield rushed through a 5-year deal to keep him at Bellevue. And the future is rosy with players like Batchelor, according to Chris Chester.
And like Tom Johnson as well, but Batchelor made his debut last week, involved in that tackle there on Walker.
There he is. This is Roby for the Saints. Peru takes it forward, but not too far.
Good shot from Batchelor, involved in the first 2 tackles since he's come onto the pitch, but then gives a penalty away.
Too quick, or too slow to move from the call from James Child. And he's been hot on that tonight. He's shouted move, and if they haven't moved, St Helens have been penalised, and rightly. Wakefield penalised for the same offence. The kick, though, didn't make too much progress. They're still inside their own half of the field. They're now over halfway, just with Kyle Amor.
Well, the flat, aren't they, Eddie? They look flat, the crowd sound flat. They're hoping for some magic here as Farge goes back to the side. They go on the switch. Ryan Morgan again, doubling up 2 centres, but at the moment, anything that they do isn't done at the pace that's needed here to penetrate through the defence. Disappointed Kerman on the side.
Yeah, he's frustrated, isn't he? He really is. And then Walker.
The offload king, you'd be following him if you're Danny Kerman, leaving the scene of the crime.
Roby, little kick into space, that's interesting. Griggs deals with the threat.
Third play. And James Roby pops up on the blind side. He's thinking that one of his teammates is going to be pushing up in support. Nobody was there.
Now it's St Helens' turn to try and hunt the mistake.
Need to be physical here, Saints.
Look how compressed they are. St Helens, number 21, that's the winger at the bottom of your screen.
That's 4 tackles gone. Solid defence here from St Helens. First time really that there's been any pressure in the Wakefield half of the field. They've reached the last tackle now, and they're still 20 metres away from halfway. So the kick from Williams this time has to be good. It will find the ground, which will help, but Swift will bring it back for St Helens.
That was probably Saints' best defensive set in this game.
But Batchelor already is putting himself about in this match. Only been on the field a matter of minutes.
Said Eddie, only 18 years of age, he won't take a backward step. Again, getting involved in this tackle.
On Mark Percival with Kyle Wood. Percival plays the ball. Roby. Here they come again with Jack Owens.
Even when Jack Owens carrying the ball, no one's up in support with him. Whether anyone's expecting him to offload the ball or not.
Theo Farge showed it a couple of times, gave it to Wilkin. Wide they go to Adam Swift. And Swift has wrong-footed the defenders. Slides and aquaplanes under Caton Brown's challenge penalty there.
Yeah.
Could almost be a professional foul, that.
Didn't he do well, Adam Swift? Steps off his left foot, gets back on the inside. You can see that Caton Brown's all over him. Trying to go 3, 4, 5 times, wouldn't let him up.
Well, this is a chance for St Helens then to respond. And then in possession with Walker. Signed from Hull Kingston Rovers. This is his debut. Down he goes. 3 metres short of that line. Roby is scheming. And Roby gives the ball to Louis McCarthy. Scarsbrook, and he's almost got it down, but that's great defence. Fafita over the top. Scott Griggs underneath. Roby. Little drop pass to Makinson. Here is Morgan. He's got the ball down. Ryan Morgan, Saints are back in it. Just before half-time, perfect time to score a try for the Saints. Ryan Morgan. First try for the Saints. First try in Super League for Ryan Morgan. Liverpool born, but not just up the road. He's not a Scouser, it's Liverpool in Australia.
Got to give some credit to Adam Swift there, who gets back in the field. He earns his side a penalty. It's a one-on-one tackle. Caton Brown won't let him up because he knows if that play the ball's too quick, they could concede a try. Goes forward a couple of plays. And then from centre field, James Roby comes up with a pass. You've got a Wakefield player who bites in. I think it's Bill Tupu, creates that space on the edge. The ball goes out the back. But as soon as a player bites in on that dummy run, and Makinson has got support out wide, and Ryan Morgan scores the opening try for Saints.
Let's credit Dominic Peru. It's his strong, hard line that forces the defender to commit. The space is opened, and it seems an eternity since St Helens have had any field position, and as soon as they get down there, they compose themselves and come away with 4 points.
It's that long ago, it was last week, isn't it? It took them 35 minutes to get close to the opponent's line, and they found a way of crashing over it. Sadly for Wakefield, it seemed to coincide this with the loss of Danny Kerman just 5 minutes ago.
So Mark Percival now with a difficult kick in his own right. He has seen Jacob Miller kick a couple of beauties. Can Percival do likewise? The answer is no, he can't. It just goes the wrong side of the post. Right, let's go downstairs. Angela Powers.
Yeah, thanks, Eddie. He's in the changing room at the moment. It looks like he's going to have deep stitches into quite a deep gash in his right knee. It looks like he's got a stud there, limped off the pitch as you saw, and there's blood pouring out of there. And he said to me, yep, pretty deep, that one, as he walked in. So we're waiting to see. We don't think it's ligament damage or anything that will keep him off, but we'll wait and see what happens at half-time.
Danny Kerman, the man that Angela Powers talking about, the skipper off the field. He was replaced by Batchelor, and it's no detriment to Batchelor, but feels right. The try has come with the skipper on the sideline. Kyle Amor now for the Saints.
Hold.
And Walker trying to make his presence felt on his debut. This 13-time Scottish international. Amor again will take the ball forward. It's a real Celtic combination there, because Amor is an Irish international. He plays it to Roby. And Peyru. Roby again. Scampering run. Cut down by a very good tackle by the other Walker, Anthony Walker.
Holy moly, nearly chopped him in half then.
Farge with the kick. Is Griggs interested in this? He has to be, because it would have stayed in the field of play. Oh, and a good run, good feet from Griggs. He's left Jack Owens on his backside, and he cuts inside. Morgan gets to him, so too does Farge.
A good counter from Scott Griggs. Has the ability to beat a man, get straight up the field.
He's the only Wakefield player to have played against St Helens, in St Helens, and won the game on show here tonight. So he's the only one to go away winning. I think he's determined here that his teammates enjoy the success and get the first victory. Johnson in the middle of the field.
Percival's come up with some, hasn't he?
Hasn't he just? That was on Batchelor. Here's Fafita, round one, at the chest of Peyru. Fafita gets him to the 40-metre mark on the last tackle. Wood with a scampering little run. Wood with a brilliant run. And an important tackle in defence from Tommy Makinson again. Wants to play the ball quickly. Bounces untidily. Miller keeps it going. Here is Batchelor. He's dropped it. Percival was there in attendance. And that was a glorious opportunity for Wakefield.
Well, the onside of the play ball got up, seemed to get up so quickly, didn't they? Let them look at a break for Kyle Wood, who splits them down the middle. Some fatigue perhaps here now on a heavy pitch. Great tackle by Makinson. And how they got up so quickly there. Adam Swift was amazing there to force that error. Knocks the ball out himself, should have been play on.
Well, I think the referees probably look at that as taken out in collision. Call the knock on.
Wakefield might have scored then on a dry track, because Kyle Wood is pretty quick.
He picked the boggiest part of the pitch to run on, didn't he?
Looked like he was running in a bag of cement. But it's been a workmanlike performance. In fact, probably better than that for Wakefield in this first half. That's probably doing them a disservice.
They've certainly turned up, haven't they? They've got the right attitude in defence, slowing Saints down.
And they're playing with the ball as well. They're moving the ball when they can. Save positions, plays in a better position than them, and Chris Chester, I'm sure he'll go into the changing rooms and say, well done, lads. Half a job done.
Half a job done, and a half a job to do for St Helens. But it was Mason Caton Brown who caught the eye with the first try of the match. We had a couple of kicks either side of that converted try by Sam Williams. It was a 10-0 lead after just under half an hour. Then Danny Kermont left the field for Wakefield, and Ryan Morgan, the Australian, came up with the try 4 minutes from half-time for Saints. 10-4 then to Wakefield Trinity here at St Helens. Tipped on brilliantly. Mason Caton Brown. I think if that is a try, that is another one of the great tries of 2017. Welcome back to St Helens. We have another match for you from the Betfred Super League tomorrow. It's Catalan Dragons against Widnes. Sky Sports 3, but not 7:30. Don't delay till then. It's on at 4:55. Catalan Widnes 4:55 tomorrow here on Sky Sports 3. St Helens 4, Wakefield Trinity 10 is the surprise scoreline as we prepare to get the second half kicked off. And you know, if you look back in the history books, they haven't had much joy on this ground or on the Knowsley Road ground in the past. Just 2 wins in 21 visits in Super League to this town for Wakefield, and going back still further, they've won only 2 of 33 since 1980. So it is a massive challenge that they faced here today, but Wakefield Trinity have acquitted themselves wonderfully in the mud here after all the rain that we've had over the past 24 hours.
It's a challenge that they look up for, Ed. The kicking game in the first 20 minutes especially was very good. They kept turning Saints around, even playing the way out of rugby after they'd after they'd earned the right to play. And Saints really on the back foot, although they finished the first half with a good 15-minute spell, scored a try, but they know they've been second best behind Wakefield.
And last week Wakefield led but couldn't hang on to the lead. 10-8 it was. Here it's better, it's 10-4, but that defence is tremendous. Absolutely tremendous.
Jacob Miller holding the player up, just waiting for his teammates to come in, then comes up with a dominant tackle again, putting pressure on Theo Farge here.
And the ball just plops into the mud. It's picked up by Mason Caton Brown. The chase is good though, led by Amor and McCarthy Scarsbrook. Scott Griggs is the man at dummy half, and Rhys Lynn will now try and work this ball forward. Joined from Hull in 2013. Griggs again, new boy this year, back where he began after 7 seasons at Huddersfield. This Tom Johnson to the 40-metre line. Once again, a good kick down. This is a 40-20 attempt. Ooh. It might just be a fraction
just short. But kicking on the third play, you earn the right to kick. You find that space. Sam Williams realises that the winger is up in the line. You can just see Adam Swift just to the bottom of your screen. Tommy Makinton's over the other side of the pitch, so there's an awful lot of space in this bottom left-hand corner. And just look how close this goes.
Well, what a kick that would have been. What a kick it was, to be fair, from Sam Williams, back in Super League after a spell in the NRL in 2016. Remember him from 2014 with the Catalan Dragons. OK, half-time news. Let's hear from Angela Powers.
It's all really about cutting out the mistakes for Kieran Cunningham and this St Helens side. He says they made 5 yardage errors. That's errors coming off their own line in the first half, and also kicked on the third tackle, which according to Sean Long is a bit of a boo-boo when they really need to complete their sets and hold on to the ball in these conditions. As you can imagine, for the other coach, for Chris Chester, he's quite pleased with this. 86% completion in the first half, which in these conditions, by the way, it stopped raining, is fantastic, he reckons. They want better possession though. Possession has been good, but he needs them to hold on to the ball more, and basically happy. Now, the good news about Danny Kermond is he has had stitches and he will be available to come back onto the pitch.
I bet he might as well, but Batchelor just got in a very good challenge on John Wilkin there. Oof.
Good shot, Walker.
It's made a difference, hasn't he, Adam Walker? He sat on the Subs bench, but when St Helens couldn't go forward in the middle of the field, he came on. It did coincide with perhaps an upturn in their performance. They got a couple of penalties. He started the second half very well, and it's almost the complete opposite of what we saw in the first 40 minutes, where the team in white at the moment are doing all the containing and Wakefield struggling to go forward down that centre.
Yes, the centre is the area of the field that they had such joy in the first half. Lynn gets to his feet, plays the ball to Kyle Wood. Here now is Matty Ashurst. That was high from Peru.
Yeah, could have been a penalty, that from Peru.
And he looks at the referee, does Matty Ashurst. It was high. Another 40-20 attempt was possibly at the back of the mind of Williams, but straight down the throat of Adam Swift. A little bit high from Peru, but allowed to play on. Makinson shrugs one would-be challenger away, but Batchelor is there.
Such a strong player, Tommy Makinson. He's as strong as an Everest yak. He just gets rid of the defender, tries to get his team on the front foot. Wonderful player, enjoying a spell at full-back. He'll get more time on the ball, more involvement. He's looking to get involved at the minute.
This, meanwhile, is the try scorer, Ryan Morgan. And believe me, if anyone knows how strong an Everest yak is, it is Barry McDermott. Peyru switches the ball back into the arms of Jack Owens. Did you meet any on your journey last year?
Yes, I met Chris Yakabusa.
We'll let you have that one. Oh, that's a horrible bounce! Zebtair is on the field and making his presence felt, and they've forced the goal line dropout.
They've been dominant, haven't they, Saints? In the opening stages, some decent kicks, putting Wakefield under pressure again, kick into space, the ball bounces. Look at the chase from Saints, from Walker, from Roby, from Jack Owens.
Well, that's a great start to his St Helens career for Zebtair. Arrived on a 3-year deal from the Gold Coast at 32 years of age. Former New Zealand international Scott Griggs has picked up a bang by the looks of things and doesn't look well at the moment. And this would be a blow.
A bad blow as well. He's been good in his first outings for Wakefield. Picked up an injury at Huddersfield on his shoulder. You see, he's had the devil's own job to get hold of that ball. Zebtair makes it too difficult. He spills the ball. And I bet Wakefield players and fans are hoping that Scott Griggs can get up and rejoin this game.
I think he's got a stinger on it. Yeah, a stinger on his right shoulder. Zebtair hit him with that much force.
Well, there he is. He's in his third club in 3 years. Zebtair last played in Super League for the Catalan Dragons in 2015. And off to the Gold Coast and now back. A 3-year deal at 32. Not bad.
He's a good player and he's a valuable commodity because he can play in the forwards, he can play in the backs. He's got the skill and the pace to play in the backs, but when it needs time to roll his sleeves up and get rough, he can do that as well.
And an immediate impact on this game and indeed on Scott Griggs. So goal line dropout now for Wakefield. Straight up the middle to Theophage. And Amor will take the ball forward. Ever willing, and Wigan have doubled the lead against Lee. Started the second half over there. Here, St Helens looking to come back into this match that was going away from them in the first half, and this is a much better start to the second 40 than it was in the first. Zebtair again gets the ball away to Percival, and somehow Percival hangs on under pressure. Mason Caton Brown got to him though. This is Roby. Now it is Amor up the middle again. Couldn't get through Fafita or Arona. Picks himself up eventually. Roby, he went to pick that up and left it on the floor. Wilkins slides the kick through. Peyru's hunting it. Goal line dropout, the second in quick succession coming up.
Well, James Roby, when he was stood behind the play the ball, and he didn't know whether to go left and right. He was waiting for a boss call off somebody. John Wilkins just commands that ball at the end. Stabs the ball through. Good weighted kick.
Lovely kick.
Yeah. It's a good kick with his right foot when you consider, generally speaking, he kicks the ball with his left. I mean, skillful at who would kick the point, forcing goal line dropouts unless eventually he turns them into points. Wakefield sending on 2 new fresh bodies, 2 subs coming on here. Well, Liam Finn for the first time and Craig Hubie back into the action again.
It's a better goal line dropout to halfway and Makinson. Back comes Kyle Amor. Liam Finn immediately into the action, helping out in the tackling with Fafita and also with Anthony Walker. Roby gives it to Wilkin. He pops it up to the other Walker who is on the field, and on the opposite side Adam Walker. The great might have been forward. 3 tackles gone though. Saints inching the way towards this Wakefield line. Big pressure on Wakefield early. Fage to Tea. Down he goes. Tackle low down. That was by Sam Williams. Theophage into centre field again to Wilkin. He finds Richardson, who's asking people to come back on the inside. Eventually they do. And it is the try scorer Morgan. Eventually they get him down. It's last tackle. They're 9 metres away from the line, the Saints. They're coming wide. They're coming wide with this big Zeb again. And that's good defence from Wakefield. Muscling up, holding him up. Turnover.
That's a set as well. For Saints, John Wilkins come more and more into this game, especially in this second half. The last couple of sets, he's stepped up, he's commanding the ball, he's telling his players what he wants them to do, and he's more centre field. if Saints are to win this game, I think John Wilkins got to have a big influence on it.
Well, it just feels now, I think, for Wakefield, there's a white wall coming at them as soon as they get possession. Look, it's hard to make a metre or two. Fafita does that. And I think psychologically, if they can get up and over that 20-metre line, well, there is a relief here now. A quick play of the ball, and they're up and at it. Oh, what a decision! Massive moment in this match.
Well, we've seen this a few times this year with the player who's playing the ball walks off the mark.
A call held, you then move forward.
Yes, it's a feature of the season so far.
Yeah, it's after he's played the ball on that occasion. He's ran forward, which blocks the markers moving forward. That's the reason for the penalty.
So St Helens back on the front foot, and it might have been up the other end.
Go.
And that was Walker for Saints. This is Theophage. He gets the ball away. Makinson has found Percival, and Percival is in. Applause from the coach. Kieran Cunningham for Mark Percival. And he hasn't scored since last July, Mark Percival, when the sun was shining at Wigan, and it was a big win for the Saints that night, or that day, 23 points to 4. Mark Percival, he's kicked 3 goals this season before tonight. That's his first try.
Well, here's the penalty. David Fafita moves off the mark, runs into the markers, and Liam Finn just onto the pitch, trying to give his side some momentum, has to go back. Saints from that field position, and their execution under difficult conditions. As Angela said on the sideline, they look like, or it looks like it's stopped raining, but passes on the button. And for me, this just proves how crucial field position will be during this game for St Helens.
Well, John Wells might talk about how difficult it is to defend on the wing later on. Mason Caton-Brown rushes up, but absolutely takes nobody, doesn't he? Gets in between 2 of the attackers. Made it easy there for St Helens to score, totally out of position.
Well, can Mark Percival add 2 points to his 4? It's another difficult kick for him. He had one at the other end in the first half, but that was a difficult chance for a right-footed kicker. Here he's going to look to draw this ball over the top of the crossbar if he can, and what's more, level up the scores if he kicks this. And if he does, the comeback for St Helens will be complete. Percival's boot. Oh, just the wrong side of the posts. Wakefield clinging on to the lead.
Well, if St Helens go on to win this game, it's almost hinged and turned, doesn't it, on this controversial decision. Here's the try, Terry.
Well, Sam Williams gets caught up there with Zebte. That's why I think that he gets called out. Because they don't push off. Sam Williams goes in, he spots Zebte, and he thinks that he's the option.
But this penalty's the moment for me. I think that's a very tough call. Are you happy with it?
Well, I can see the reason it's being given. You know, we want the defenders to get off very quick. The attackers, the man playing the ball, they've got to do what they're expected, which is stand on the mark and play the ball and don't move forward. In that case, in that occasion, they've taken the markers out.
I would say when you put in that much effort into breaking the line, you've got good leg drive, and players will get judged, and the KPIs will be about metres after contact. To then stop still and play that ball, I think, is a tough one.
Well, that's the law. Got to play the ball on the mark, and you've got to stand still after you've played it.
And he certainly didn't do that. He moved forward.
Hold, David, hold.
Well, St Helens won't be complaining about it, that's for sure, because it's thrown them a lifeline. And can Walmsley give them something else here?
And they look like they've got more energy, don't they? Look, when the man who's carrying the ball goes at the line, he's got a couple of options.
Taylor has made an immediate impact.
Oh, he's big.
Oh, what a good offload that is. He had to stoop, of course, to pick it off the ground, did Adam Walker, but that's what he did. That's the last. And up it goes, high off the boot of Wilkin. This is a towering bomb. Well claimed by Griggs. Theophage timed the tackle perfectly, and what's more, pulled him back a bit further. Here goes Tom Johnson.
Good run from Johnson. But Griggs' arms, they're like sights. He points his arms up in the air, focuses on where the ball is, comes down. He doesn't pressure himself. Scott Griggs, all the experience in the world. He's played very well in this game.
Well, Alex Walmsley or Scott Griggs at the moment, it's up in the air who will be joining John Wells at the touchscreen at full time. The winner will be talking to John. hope they've got some breath left, because this has been a real slog. That's not the best kick. Nakinson's lucky facing his own post, so the ball went backwards off him after the fumble. Batchelor's moved up, and Batchelor eventually gets the tackle in with Reece Lynn.
It's not a bad line as well for Wakefield. On this second play, can they control Percival? Make it a touch slower.
Play the ball.
Well, was that a movement off the mark?
Well, there you go. That's my case in point. He's fighting that hard to get through contact, and since they've got some momentum at the minute, that's the job and the role of the ball carrier.
Roby plays it. Wilkin tips the ball inside to Wormsley. Liam Finn just hangs on grimly to his shorts, pulls him down. Last one here then for St Helens coming up. And it's Wilkin again with the kick under pressure. Ricks traps the ball with the instep, and then says to Johnson, have another run at them, which he does willingly.
He's a willing worker, very powerful, Tom Johnson. Needs to get out of that middle though if he wants to run a full length.
And Tupu.
Get square.
Liam Finn in at dummy half now. Craig Hubie looked at the referee then and thought that was a high shot. Put on him by Dominic Peyroux. James Child unimpressed. Matty Ashurst. Liam Finn waits again just inside their own half of the field. Fafita gets them to the halfway line and just over it after 5 tackles. So now he'll stand still. Will he? No, he doesn't, you know. He plays the ball and moves forward again. You think he'd have learned his lesson. They find touch with the kick from Jacob Miller.
He's a big man, Fafita, isn't he? He's hard to handle. Even if you get your body in front, then Miller, again, no real pressure. Just knocks the ball off the pitch. But powerful going forward. Plays the ball, walks forward into Walker, because it's the last play. He knows,
and he knows
coming.
he's got to get in the kick chase team.
But he doesn't block any markers on that occasion.
But he walks forward. The rule is he can't walk forward.
Back up.
It's the law, actually, not the rule.
Okay, enough, Jacob. Thank you.
I cannot
Any
believe,
issues, give me a shout.
I cannot believe Barry McDermott is trying to teach Stuart Cummings the laws of the game.
I think he's got him there, though.
Well, Stuart did own up.
Knock if you can't go, Stuart.
Zebtea gets the ball away brilliantly to Theo Farge. Theo Farge is dumped to the ground by Fafita.
Now, Theo Farge is a good player, and Fafita, big man, tries to manhandle him. Oh, come on, not the conker.
Well, he does manhandle him, and that's okay. But it's when he goes on the ground, and the ref says that he puts his hand in his face.
There's a second effort on, you know, movement on the head.
But he said that he pulled.
Well, here's Walker again for St Helens, wrestled to the floor by 2. St Helens are getting themselves back into this match more and more. Second half, Wormsley down the middle.
Wakefield knew, didn't they? They were going to win here. They had to do something special at some point in the match. For the last 15 minutes, they are being outplayed here, but they've got to show some real grit in the defence, and Zebtea is looking more dangerous as the match wears on here now on this left side.
Yes, hasn't he made a difference to St Helens since he's come off the bench? Roby waits behind him. Passes into his captain Wilkin. Wilkin then finds Richardson. Richardson finds Makinson.
He's give himself up, though, is that right, Stuart?
Yeah, he's given himself up.
Give himself up.
He's not continued with his run.
Wormsley again, driving the ball in. Down he goes on tackle number 5, 5 metres away. Sends to look for a repeat set at least here, or maybe something more, as Wilkin finds Farge again. And Farge gets the ball away to Percival, and they had a man on him. They had Sam Williams on him, but Percival has come up with his second try. And he has nudged St Helens into the lead for the first time. It's taken them 56 minutes to break Wakefield down.
When Theo Farge comes across, he's looking for his centre to just come short of him.
Well, the last try that St Helens scored came on the back of a sort of dubious penalty here. Wakefield will be thinking that they were the ones who should have had a penalty here, as Percival's running around behind one of his teammates there. I don't agree with the modern interpretation. Obstruction's obstruction, but anyway, Saints play on. They pass it left here, and they scored a brilliant try. Now, as the game's gone on this second half, they've really turned the match around.
This is Theo Farge with the way he goes at the line. Look at the way he isolates players. He's not the biggest, but he goes at the line. No matter how many times he gets sat down, he'll still go in. He tries to attract one player who jumps the line, creates that space on the edge, and Percival does ever so well to keep his footwork and power over the line.
Meant a lot, that, to Kieran Cunningham, the St Helens coach. So St Helens in front after 57 minutes. Might be further in front after this kick from Percival. He has missed with his previous two. This is considerably easier. Oh, but he's missed again. He has missed again, Mark Percival. He's frustrated with himself. And I bet the crowd and his coach are as well.
Well, when we turned up to this game, we knew it would be tight. The conditions would dictate that. And sometimes during games, you'll have phases where it will go with you. You'll have phases when it goes against you. When you're riding the crest of that wave, it's important that you post points. And St Helens, through Mark Percival, have done that. And they've just took the lead, 12 points to 10. Still in the balance with Zeb Taylor. I agree with you, lads. I think he's made a heck of a difference.
He has, and Wakefield know that. That's why there were 3 men on him when he collected that kickoff. Walker. He's not a bad acquisition for the Saints either. Roby, 30 metres away from his own line. They come forward again with Wormsley. The big men are starting to be counted here. Roby will scamper away. That was Wilkins, short ball. It's that man again. Taya, 3 more defenders get into ground. Wakefield must feel like either Bellew or David Hay on the ropes at the moment. We'll see how that all pans out tomorrow night on Sky Sports box office. Here is Theo Fage. How will this pan out here tonight on Sky Sports 3? Last tackle coming up for the Saints. Wilkin will get the kick away, left-footed, high and across field. Well, it went to go across field, it went straight up in the air, and then Theo Fage came up with a knock-on, and Wakefield survived. And Liam Finn is saying that Theo Fage was actually offside then and in front of the kicker.
And he'll be disappointed with that kick, John Wilkin. He got some decent traction going forward from some of the big forwards. Then Theo Fage going across the pitch looking to who can he give the ball to. Then Danny Richardson shifted the ball to the left. And the kick just high in the air. Wasn't what John Wilkin would have been looking for.
Now they come down the left-hand side to Wakefield with Bill Tupou. It's a good run from Tupou. Saints get to him. Miller. Wakefield respond on the counter-attack here with Williams. Gets the pass away to Reece Lynn. Mason Caton-Brown waits for the flick pass. It comes, and he's pushed out of the field of play by Adam Swift. He was so close to his second try then was Mason Caton-Brown.
Well, he does everything right, doesn't he, Reece Lynn? He doesn't panic. He tries to buy his winger some space. Adam Swift, he's got faith in Percival. He goes in, he taps him, and then all of a sudden he just pushes off and just takes his opposite.
Doesn't he do well, Adam Swift? He has to commit, partially commit to the centre, Reece Lynn, and then he springs himself off, pushes himself onto the player denied the try. Look what he does. He uses the player he's defending against to spring himself on to deny Mason Caton-Brown.
Well, Adam Swift, 70th try last week in 95 appearances, and that was 4 points saved. What a scramble at the scrum.
Yes. Come back again for a scrum. Tommy makes in the back of the scrum, just been trying to run something off.
I think I saw then, it was Adam Walker explaining to Zeb Taylor which foot to put back in the front row.
Get square. Hold.
Education on the hoof there.
Jack Owens trying to work the ball away.
Go.
Wakefield looking for the mistake now from St Helens, and the big men like Wormsley hanging on grimly to the football. Roby from dummy half. Wilkin. Short pass to Zeb Taylor, but he hung on to it.
His skill, Eddie, is his ability to catch the ball at the line. That's one of the most difficult ones. A lot of players, they want it early, and sometimes when they get it early, they drop it. But Zeb Taylor catches it at the line. He's a very reliable, consistent player.
40, clear.
And Farge went for a bit of length on the kick, but under pressure he couldn't get the ball away very far. So here they come again, do Wakefield in the shape of Mason Caton Brown.
They're trying to put some pressure on now here, Saints. Again, so tight. Look at that defensive line.
Tom Johnson
Hold.
trying to get his way through. It's now the chance of Arona, Cook Islander,
Release. 3.
Liam Finn, Craig Hubie. Bit of space here maybe for Wakefield. It's Scott Griggs. Well, that was a strange
Play on.
decision.
That was
Very
like,
early in the tackle count.
it was like going for the big play, wasn't it? The impossible play, just dropping it onto your toe, stabbing it into the ground so it bounces up behind the defensive line. Obviously Percival comes up with it.
But look where they turned the ball over, just short of the halfway line for St Helens, and they're already in Wakefield territory. Okay, 3 tackles gone.
Hey, come on, Eddie. I mean, they've got to try things, haven't they, sometimes? It didn't come off, but we'd be annoyed if they just played percentage play. Scott Griggs knows to win on this ground, they've got to score, they've got to try something, because St Helens' defence has been better in the second half.
He has. But oof, that was a swinger from Kermond. Just hit the top of Tayer's head, and the touch judge is on.
Goes straight over the top. The initial one, doesn't it? Danny Kermond, knowing that his side needs something. Comes in, Zeb Taylor. Doesn't get that. What the Saints do here, but they keep on running it.
Well, John Wilkins asked the question to the sideline.
They'll keep the pressure on here, Eddie.
Okay, Theo.
There's no sign from the coach's bench, so you're right, they will go for territory and see what comes. Could be a crucial period of the match here. Saints get across the line and open up an 8-point gap. It could be the game changer. We shall see. Roby is there at dummy half, 15 metres away, bang in front of the sticks. This now is Wilkin. Here comes the big man again. It's Adam Walker, and he'll go down. We'll play the ball to Roby. There's Richardson, gives it back to Theo Farge, knock on by Tommy Makinson. Chance has gone, Wakefield survive.
But Wakefield had to switch on because Saints set the line on the opposite side of the sticks. Then they were going to come back with a big shift, looking for either Zeb Taylor or to get Zeb Taylor running through as a dummy runner to attract some attention, but obviously Makinson couldn't take that pass. He was under pressure from Lynn. Wakefield's defence read that play then perfectly.
Catalan Witness is tomorrow, and that's the time, 4:55 here on Sky Sports 3 for that. And once we've seen Witness, a week later than we anticipated, we will have seen all 12 teams from the Betfred Super League in 2017. A season that at the moment has Castleford Tigers sitting top of the table. High shot on Hubie. That one's seen. And Percival is the culprit.
Well, we've been here this season once and seen St Helens win a close game by just 2 points. They're 2 points again here already in the second month of the Super League season. 15 minutes or so to go. But they're going to be really tested here because there's nothing at all for Wakefield to lose. They're going to throw every option and every last bit of energy they've got. Last week they faded badly in the last quarter. Can they finish this one stronger?
Well, we have 15.5 minutes remaining, and that certainly has been the aim this week for Chris Chester. And Michael Seo will play the ball to Liam Finn. There's Hubie again. Wide they go down this left-hand side where they look as though they pose the greater threat at the moment. Ashurst plays the ball somewhat angrily. Now it's Kermond. He's come back, he's got the knee bandage on because he has stitches in a knee wound that he picked up in the first half. Liam Finn meeting the St Helens sandwich on tackle number 5. 12 metres away. Goes left with Miller. Oh,
good tackle.
Good hit.
Morgan Knowles works really hard from marker. Chris Chester knows his side. Needed to be better on last tackle. Talked over the last couple of weeks about good players, good young players making the way in the game. I'm a big fan of that player. Morgan Knowles. Yeah, and he knew he had to work hard. He knew he had to take time and space away from Jacob Miller. Good work from the young back rower.
And now it's the turn of Wakefield, who have to work hard, and Lee have to work hard to rescue that one at Wigan. They're 14-0 down. after the euphoria of their first victory of the season last week against this St Helens team. The highlights available on the website at full time. Here comes Richardson, good ball away from him.
Saints
beg your pardon, it was the centre Morgan.
Saints coming up with some change now. Luke Thompson's on the pitch.
There was Richardson playing the ball. This now is Wilkin, that's Farge. Makinson, good hands. And it's with Amor, and he's in support again. His Percival gets the ball away.
What a shame.
It would have been a breathtaking try on a mud heap of a pitch.
It was Kyle Amor's first touch as well. He come on the pitch, found himself in the centre, gets the ball back inside.
And Kermon's in more strife.
He's been struggling.
He's a player that puts his body on the line each and every week. Each and every tackle, carry, involvement he has in the game, much like Theo Farge, two opposite ends of the size scale. But Kyle Amor finds himself lost in the centres, delivers a good, and unfortunately for Saints, what about this? He'll be thrilled to bits with this when he watches it again. Kyle Amor doesn't normally get the opportunity out wide. The spilled ball and the desperation of Wakefield is a credit to them. They're not out of this game yet.
No, they're not, and it's Danny Kermond who is back in the defensive line, but can't be feeling terribly well at the moment. So Liam Finn from dummy half in all the mud. Gets it away to Arona. Arona struggles to his feet, plays it to Liam Finn again. Hubie. Solid defence from St Helens. Knowles, Amor in very quickly. Finn goes right and finds Miller. Miller then gives it a little bit of space. And Reece Lynn holds on. Just on halfway.
Good defence from Saints.
Miller again. Oof. Good job. Williams was alert. They reached tackle number 5. Last one coming up then, so maybe expect the kick. And there it is from Miller. What's the chase like? It's not bad. It's being led by Kermond. Oh, what a hit on Tommy Makinson.
He's hurt himself again, Danny Kermond.
I think it's the knee. I think he's in absolute agony with the knee that's got stitches in it.
He times that to perfection. That's a disciplined chase. He stayed onside when the kick goes up. And then as soon as Makinson catches that, he hits him with everything. You know, he's an old warrior, isn't he, Danny Kermond? Doesn't want to leave the side. He knows he's one of the senior players. The players around him listen to him. Look at that. Oof. It's a lonely job being a fullback, isn't it? See, sooner or later.
It is a lonely job with a guy chasing you with no regard for his body. And what he's done throughout this game, he's the talisman for this side. There's good shoulder contact. Nothing wrong with the tackle. Good quality on shore from Tommy Makinson, of course.
You know, sooner or later, though, he's going to have to give it up, isn't he? He's tried so hard, Danny Kermond.
Wakefield must feel like they can't afford to leave this game or be involved in this arm wrestle and tussle without their inspirational captain.
Well, Terry called it, what did you call him, an old warhorse?
Warhorse.
31 years of age, the old warhorse.
Yeah, love watching him. Love watching him.
There you go. His decision's been made for him, it looks like. Sensible. Your favourite player, James Batchelor, has a second stint. Everybody knows and is aware of this young man, and he'll want a better second stint.
2 tries for Anthony Gelling at Wigan, apparently. 20 points to 0 they lead. Williams has got the other. All those tries can be enjoyed by Wigan supporters if they're not at the game tonight on our website at the full-time whistle here. 12 minutes away from that we are. Looks like Wigan have won. Are St Helens going to hang on to the win here, or have Wakefield got something left in the box? It's a good defensive set here as Saints try and get it out wide. And Jack Owens has to just hack the ball downfield. It's not a bad kick in the circumstances.
Well, they do well to recover from it, but it was a sloppy pass, wasn't it? A good chase here from Saints, led by some of the senior players in Amor, Wilkin. Look at Knowles, he pulls out of that. He thinks the ball's going out to him, to his teammate. in the centre, Ryan Morgan.
Mason Caton-Brown gets Wakefield over halfway. This now is Williams, and Williams pops the ball up to Walker.
This is what Wakefield want to be as well. You talked about the pitch in the first half, Eddie. This is the best part to attack.
Seems like a long time since we had a penalty. The Wakefield side, I'm sure, would love one right now in the remaining part of this set.
They'd buy one, wouldn't they, if they could? Miller into centre field. It's that man, Arona. He finds Williams. Williams hoists it into the corner, looking for Mason Caton-Brown. He was tackled in the air, though, was Adam Swift. The penalty goes against him.
Well, he got himself where the action was. Unfortunately, he can't do that. Takes out Adam Swift as he jumps for the air. If the ball goes up, you've got to make sure that if you go up in the air, you've got to make sure it's a contest, not put your arms on a player or around the opposition player.
Concussion, by the way, for Danny Kermont, nothing to do with the knee. So, I wonder if he'll be back tonight. We're coming into the last 10 minutes of the match that is still there for the winning. You feel, I suppose, that next try wins it. Zebtea,
it's a big
impressive on his second half debut for the Saints.
Do you know, to come to Saints and be in it with just 10 minutes to go, 2 points behind, Wakefield need to throw everything at the Saints. It's a great opportunity to come away with 2 valuable league points.
And a little bit of history, because they haven't had much success in this town over the years, as we've emphasised a couple of times. But this has been a very good performance from them. It's been dogged. But St Helens, you have to credit them for the comeback as well from 10-0 down. They've scored 12 unanswered points. Roby finds Wilkin. Theophage again, just a little fumble. Taya, Percival down the line and backs himself. Will turn Scott Griggs around, and Swift makes sure there's a goal line dropout coming up. Good pressure from St Helens.
Isn't it an intelligent kick from Percival? And he knows that he's running out of space. He's got players coming on the inside defensively. Just kicks it into the corner, knows that him and Swift are switched on. They're on the same page.
I think Adam Swift has had a couple of big involvements. He took that bomb near his own line. His side have marched themselves up to the other end of the pitch, and he was there on hand to make that tackle. Good work from the winger.
So here comes Kyle Moore from that goal line dropout. The players must be feeling the pinch after 71 minutes on this heavy field. And it's Thompson who drives it at Liam Finn. I say the ball retention second half has been much better. Mind you, the rain has stopped.
Yeah.
Roby again. Up the middle he goes. Nearly gets away. Arona hangs on to him. They're 10 metres away. 3 tackles gone. Theophage. Back it comes to Wilkin. Wilkin then to Zebtea. Can he crown his home debut, his St Helens debut with a try? Not this time. Roby comes back the other way. Thompson and Richardson. Here is Makinson. Makinson, oh, he flipped the pass up. And here comes Miller. It's a free play. They're chancing their arm. Johnson. And the man who made the mistake, Morgan, comes back and makes amends for that mistake.
I wonder with that free play, if he had his time again, would he have kicked the ball long and let Johnson chase it? One of the quickest men on the pitch. You can see as soon as that mistake's made from Morgan, Miller's looking for one of his teammates to pass the ball to. Maybe the other option was to kick it.
Batchelor I was going to say, has moved off the mark, but there were hands in the ruck. He was struggling to get to his feet. Zebtea concedes the penalty.
Trying to control the youngster as he gets to his feet. See just a little, the right hand just touching the ball. It was just enough.
Right, Wakefield then with a chance. Reece Lynn. To Williams. From Williams into centre field. There are 3 men waiting the charge that came in. From Anthony Walker, this is Craig Hubie.
Wakefield got enough ball players here to cause problems.
Well, they have 4 tackles remaining from 12 metres out, and here's one of the ball players, Williams. Pops it back to Griggs, and Griggs nearly gets through. They're very close. They're 2 metres away. Big moment of the match for Wakefield. Big moment of the match for St Helens, as Williams slides the kick under the post. Oh! Wow. Is this a try? Was it taken out? Was Jacob Miller taken out? Is it a penalty try?
I think he's got this
Time
I
off.
think he grounds this ball, Eddie.
Tackle 3.
His reaction doesn't convince me that he got it.
He's asked the question, though. He's asked the question, Stuart, about the merits of a penalty try, and Miller was up off the floor immediately and claiming he'd been pulled out of the way by the St Helens defender. Big decision on the way for Phil Bentham, Stu.
It is, and no try on the field could have a big impact on the final decision. Is it an obstruction on the way through? And in the opinion of the video referee, would he have scored the try? Well, he's onside from the kick. Well, he certainly tackled without the ball. So I think minimum will be a penalty to Wakefield. See here, even though they're both going in the same direction, it's the hands on him just there.
He gets that if there's no interference. That's my opinion anyway.
That's the decision the video referee. The video referee's got to be satisfied that a try would have been scored, but for the foul play of St Helens in that case. Well, he's certainly in a good position. He's in front of him. The ball's come up at a nice height. If I was making this decision, I would be giving the penalty try. I think he's got to that ball.
And it's young Richardson. It's young Richardson who got to Jacob Miller. But has he impeded him? Has he conceded a penalty try? Yes, he has. It's a penalty try to Chris Chester's Wakefield. They nudge in front with 6.5 minutes to go. Look at what it means to them. Miller was immediately up off the deck and was appealing to the referee, James Chard, that had been pushed and pulled out of the way, and had that not happened, he'd have scored the try. And video referee Phil Bentham agrees with it.
Well, as the ball plays, first of all, Finn, then Williams kicks on the third play. Some of the Saints players weren't expecting that kick to go behind. Danny Richardson was. He gets back. Unfortunately for the youngster, he impedes Jacob Miller, who's jogging on the spot. He's the most urgent Wakefield player to chase up, and there you can see what John Wilkin thinks of that decision. Disappointed, but that's what it means to Fafita. Chris Chester, well, doesn't he know his team's just scored a try?
What about the quality of the kick from Sam Williams?
It was a great kick. Chester's keeping his lid on the emotions, that's for sure. And you can't actually blame Danny Richardson, because he couldn't have a board meeting about that. He had to try and do something.
Yeah, and there was a genuine contest. I think this game has been a great contest, but I think the quality of the kick from that man, the way he angled the ball as he kicked it, it meant that it was going to curl and angle back to give the chasing Jacob Miller half a chance, and that's all he needed.
Sam Williams bang in front, adds the extras. They lead by 4, and we've got 5 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in this match, and Kieran Cunningham knows perhaps the sands of time are running out, and perhaps the 2 points are running out of St Helens tonight. And this would be an historic moment for Wakefield. It would be a horrible moment for him, but what an historic moment for Wakefield if they can hang on for the next 5 minutes. And Batchelor to the rescue.
Nearly. If anyone's got a big shot on him now, this is the time to put it on, isn't it?
Newby will bring it forward. St Helens supporters get behind their team. Wakefield, the small knot of fans at the other end, are singing and clapping and dancing, because they know this hasn't happened too often in the past, that Wakefield are within cooey of a famous victory in this town. It was Wood getting that ball away to Reece Lynn. It was Walmsley coming in with Roby in the tackle. That's 4 gone. They're still stranded inside their own half of the field. Miller is in no hurry. Down he goes on tackle number 5. Chris Chester looking anxiously on as Wakefield have to get this kick away, and they do. And the ball bounces and spins in front of Adam Swift, and Swift will bring it forward as far as Liam Finn. Batchelor was there to help out. Now they've got to get off him. They can't concede a penalty. Farge is the dummy half. Here comes Jack Owens. That's 2 gone. They're still 15 metres away from the halfway line. Ashurst was taking a chance there. Here now comes Anthony Walmsley.
It's a must that they don't give a penalty away here now.
Alex Walmsley, I beg your pardon. Here is Wilkin. Wilkin then to Farge. Zebtea. Zebtea finds Percival. Percival goes away from Batchelor, goes away from Liam Finn. Percival 2 tries tonight. 4 tackles gone, just over halfway. Saints with Roby. Roby then to that man Walmsley again. They do the job though defensively, Wakefield. The kick will come here. Saints will get at least 1 more chance. It'll go high off the boot of Wilkin, and it's Helens Hay. and Grix is underneath it, and that's a great take.
Brilliant take.
The Irish international.
Brilliant take from Scott Grix. He's been under pressure all night. The lads at half-time talking about his contribution in defence, but under the high ball. When he's need to step in and help his side, is there a mistake?
Bill Tupu nearly dropped that. Somehow he held on with the ball on his hip. It's Caton Brown. And Saints piling in here. Piling in defence. 4 tackles gone, only 20 metres made forward. Oh, and they go down again on tackle number 5. The kick has to be good. Williams, look at the mud underneath his boots. And Miller gets the kick away. So this could be St Helens' last chance. 2 minutes to go. Wigan have won 20-0. What a blow it would be for Saints if they lost this. 2 minutes remaining. They trail by 4 points. Makinson. Here is Jack Owens. He is gobbled up. Kieran Cunningham has a look at the screen, sees 2 minutes remaining on that big board as Walmsley take it forward again.
Saints look to me like they're just setting up field position. They're going to kick it high again. Nice interplay.
Richardson.
They've a long way to go to get to that try line. Watch for the high-hanging kick.
It's a good tackle that by Matty Ashurst. Here is Walmsley. Walmsley then to Wilkin. Here's Zeptea. Zeptea trying to make a big impact, gets the ball away to Percival, and they get to him eventually. They are 12 metres away, far out on the left-hand side. The last tackle. The Saints have something special. It's a crossfield kick from Wilkin. Makinson has missed it, and Wakefield have the ball back in the shape of Bill Tupu, and there will be no hurry now. They will take their time with this set of 6. And they'll just work out these 6 tackles, surely, kick for the sideline deep, and they'll go home with a famous win.
What a performance from Trinity. They've ground out this victory, and Saints' only answer has been that high kick.
It's not over yet, Barry. But in the last minute, it might well be. It might well be. If they stick to the script that Chris Chester's given them, it might well be.
I think
he knows what
like
a
it to
big
be
win
over.
this would be. It would be their first victory of the season. And that's Liam Finn hanging on. Now then, the kick is vital because Saints have got 30 seconds to go. 11 straight losses in the end of last... Oh, he's missed the kick, it's a knock-on!
Offside.
And it's offside! Well, they won't take the 2, that's for sure. They won't take the 2, they'll run this. But it's a penalty.
They'll need to go now, tap it and go now, Saints. You might be right here, Phil.
What a finish.
A great finish. That could have been another penalty. Walmsley to his feet. Roby. The kick's got to come in, surely. The kick's surely got to come from Percival. The kick's got to come from somebody. Roby, it's the last play. It's the last play. Richardson has put the ball into the arms of one man, and Morgan loses it, and Wakefield clear the lines, and Wakefield win a really famous win. They stopped this run of 11 defeats, stretching back to last season. Look at the smile on John Keir's face. Not only that, they have hardly had success in this particular part of the world. 2 wins in the last 21 visits in Super League to St Helens. Tonight, for Wakefield Trinity, the newly named, the recrowned Wakefield Trinity, history is made. And it's a penalty try that has done it to Jacob Miller.
Well, take about Wakefield Trinity. To a man, they have worked their socks off. In defence and attack, they've been reliable and consistent for one another, and the unity that they've shown, to a man, has got them the victory, and a well-earned victory as well. Born out of hard work, solidarity, and those fans recognise our team when they see it.
Wow. Wow, we have seen history tonight. Liam Finn played his part in the second half. Young Batchelor did as well. Percival, remember, he might have scored 2 tries, but he has missed with 3 kicks. Admittedly, some very difficult, but 3 kicks would have won the match for St Helens tonight. Not putting the onus on the shoulders of Mark Percival. He did his best with his 2 tries, but such is the difference, such is the narrow margin between victory and defeat.
Very, very small margins, especially when you come to a place like St Helens away. You know you have to take every opportunity available to you. and those group of players have got what they came for, and well done to them.
Yes, well done to Wakefield, and of course they go home with the points and a man of the match performance from Sam Williams. He's the Betfred man of the match. He's getting that piece of silverware off Angela.
There's the platter, Sam. Congratulations. Sometimes games in these conditions aren't very compelling, but that one was.
Yeah, it was. Look, we knew we'd come here and it was going to be a tough game. It always is. They're a great side, and you know, the conditions tonight made it pretty hard for both sides. We tried to be as positive as we could, but these games, you know, as much as it's not great for the fans, it's about kicking and chasing and doing the little things right, and I think we did that really well for the majority of the game. And you know, we've got a really good group of blokes here, and it's just about improving and moving forward.
Possession and completion in that first half kind of earned you the win, didn't they, in a way?
Yeah, it did. Look, you know, we took a lot of energy out of them, and rugby league's a very tough physical game, and you know, you do that pre-season work to win games like that. So we worked really hard for that first 40 and got ourselves a bit of a breather there at half-time and came out firing.
They came out, as you say, at the second half and really came out firing. They gave you a game, but controversial end with that try?
Nah. Yeah, look, it's one of those ones, you know, we've had a couple of close losses the last few weeks, and if you put yourself in that position enough, you're probably going to come away with a few good results. So, you know, Milky was in position to score that try, and, you know, we got the win.
You got the win, and you get this as well, which is a cheque for £250 from Betfred. Where would you like it to go, Sam?
Yeah, the Terry Campese Foundation back in Canberra. Campo's done a lot for the community, and that's my home. So to Campo and his foundation, hopefully it can help out a little bit.
Thanks very much, Sam. Congratulations. We're going to ring Jacob Miller in now. I've just asked, controversial end, controversial try, and he said, no, not controversial. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think I would have scored if he didn't tackle me. So I think, you know, a little bit of luck, but that always helps. Well,
it's not luck if you would have scored it anyway, is it?
Yeah, exactly. I think, you know, we'll probably let ourselves down the first 2 weeks and let a few points slip, so it was nice to get off the mark tonight.
So you've been waiting a while for a victory, haven't you? And to get one here away from home in these conditions, quite sweet.
Yeah, definitely. The back end of last year we weren't good enough, and you know, the first 2 weeks we weren't too far off, but haven't come up with the goods. And we knew coming here against the Goodson Helens side it was going to be difficult, but we dug deep, and like I said before, we're finally off the mark, and hopefully we can be kick us off in the right direction.
What won you this game?
I think we defended a lot better than our last few weeks, and I think last week when we got in front we went into our shells a little bit. Tonight we continued to play and just hung in there really. I think we kicked the ball really well.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much for your time for that, Jacob. We've got Chris Chester now, the winning coach. Chris, you've got to have nerves of steel, haven't you, sometime to play this game? Or even watch it?
Yeah, we made it hard for ourselves that second half, but we always knew Saints were going to come at us. I thought we controlled the game pretty well the first 40 minutes. Probably kicked the ball better out of the two teams. But yeah, delighted. It's a massive win for this club. It's not happened many times in the past, or certainly over the last 10 years. But yeah, really proud victory tonight. And
you've been waiting for a victory for quite a while, and that was an emphatic one, really, in the way that you won it by keeping your nerve.
Yeah, I don't think it were emphatic. It were nail-biting stuff there, but we've not been far off the last few weeks. There's not, like I said, we've been in games up until the last 10 minutes, and we've gone into our shells a little bit. But you know, tonight I thought we just probably deserved the result.
There's been a lot of belief, hasn't there? You talked about those games, last two games that you've had, being quite close. The belief has been there, and the ability is definitely there.
Yeah, there's a lot of confidence in the group. I know I think it was 11 or 12 games we've not won. But you know, like I said, we're not far away. There's plenty of ability in this team with a good group of players, and you know, hopefully this can kick-start the season.
Thanks for your time, Chris. Cheers. We've got Kieran Cunningham now to speak to, the St Helens coach. Kieran, a compelling game for the people out there watching, but that first half really, and the errors you made, maybe cost you?
Yeah, it was. It's the same as last week. It was a bit of a poor start, and you know, we come back into the game with 10 minutes to go, and that third quarter after half time, we're completing 100%, and we're making the game look easy. You know, and it's a bit disappointing how we're talking about decisions again, and I'm sure the ruling for penalty tries is that he's 100% going to be able to grab the ball, and I'm not sure how that can be given. I can understand if it was a penalty, but it's sad that the game comes down to that.
That's it. You didn't have a video ref last week, and this week it's giving you a decision that's not gone your way?
Yeah, well, we are doing it a little bit tough, and I think at times, you know, when we do start dominating the game, we did lack a little bit of experience in the halves just to steady the ship and bring the game home a little bit for us, and we looked a bit frantic, but you know, the boys tried really hard in that second half, but the opening stands is just not good enough. it isn't good enough for this club and for everybody who pulls on the shirt. You know, we've got to be starting them first halves how we started in the second halves.
They are tight games, these you're losing in, and I'm sure that's not going to be any make you feel any better.
No, but you know, this is, you like to have a proud home record. You know, you like to make this place a bit of a cauldron, and if you're starting as poor as you start, then you know teams are going to want to come here and play.
Thanks for talking to us, Kieran.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Kieran. Thanks, Angela. Okay. It's Wakefield Trinity Wildcats with their first win of the Super League season, and John Wells with the scores at 12 points to 10 in favour of St Helens. You better take us to the 73rd minute, and something Kieran Cunningham disagrees venomously with.
So you preempted what my game breaker might be then, Brian. We were sitting in the studio before, weren't we? I had a funny feeling we were going to see something special that was going to decide this game. It wasn't controversial, I don't think, after all that. I think it was a correct decision. I think it was a bold decision, given the circumstances, but the correct one nonetheless. The two protagonists, you got Jacob Miller, who's going to disappear off the left if he's shot in a minute, and the guy who executes the kick, Sam Williams. They've split the halves. Liam Finn, who I thought came on and injected some real dynamism around that ruck, not in terms of the speed in which he played the ball, but just in terms of the options. And the worry that it put in the St Helens defensive minds. Good play, actually. And this, just the end of this play now, just symptomatic of a team more prepared to play than the opposition. I think that was the case, certainly for the first half. And they did enough in the second half. You're just seeing here, Sam Williams has just communicated to Jacob Miller on the third play. And this is why it's brave, that they're going to go for this. They're down. They're in the last 5 minutes of the game. They decide to go for it. It's a pre-planned play, you can tell from this. And then they get it as well. And I think it just deserves. If you're prepared to stick your arm out and go for something, not like that, of course, from Danny Richardson, I think that angle shows it pretty clearly, Brian. You've got to go ultimately to the players. They're fairly honest, aren't they? Jacob Miller said that he was going to score that try had it not been for the involvement of the defender pulling him off. Not controversial. The correct decision, the brave decision. Just about as brave, Brian, as the performance from Wakefield, which I thought belied the conditions and belied the occasion. Great stuff.
As brave as your tipping was last night, John, I must make mention of the fact that you were the only one of our four pundits that tipped Wakefield Trinity Wildcats for
follow me, you'll be right.
Yeah, it's also your old club. Surprised you didn't say London as well. They always get a start. Okay, we've got more post-match analysis. We'll also bring you an update on what happened at the DW Stadium. But first, when we come back from the break, John will be joined at the touchscreen by one of the stars from Wakefield Trinity Wildcats' significant win, Scott Griggs.